Morning guys, Noel here, and today we're going to do rework this harness for Jim. This is a cheap Amazon harness, 200 bucks I believe Canadian. Not a ton of money, but there are issues with this harness. The quality of the harness, well, the very first issue, first and foremost, there's no instructions in the box. No wiring at all. No wiring instructions at all. So this, you got to figure out. I find that there's two problems with these harnesses. Number one, the quality of the fuse block is just terrible. What I find is that the keepers on the back side they're made of the most cheapest material that you can get, and the tabs that hold them in break, and then the wire backs out when you push the relay in, and then you get no connection, and now you're chasing your tail for days like I've done before. The second problem I have is that if there's no cheap tang there, or the material, if there's no tang to hold it in, there won't be one at all. No barb that holds it in place, no retainer clip, so that when you do push it through, that's what is on the square body out there, is that I spent a day and a half chasing a wire that had pulled out the backside, and I couldn't get power to a relay or whatever. That's that. The other problem I find is that these are actually modeled after LS, like LS1, LS2, LS3 engines. And so the connectors are wrong for the Vortec engines. And then the other big one is for the throttle body. So instead of the 6 or 8 pin connector here, instead of this connector, they give you two flat connectors that won't go in, two separate ones, for a different model engine. But you just have to figure out the wires that made up, and then repin it, and then you need the pigtails to make that work. So I'm just trying to find them here for you. Here they are here. So instead of that 8-pin connector, you get this. No, that's not it either. Not it. You get one of these. Yeah, here it is. You get this and this, I believe. This and this. So now you gotta, rework this, peel this back. The colors don't match or anything, so you're literally pinning wires out with a multimeter, and you're trying to figure things out. And the only other issue, like I said, because there's no manual, you have to figure that out as well. And I've done that on another harness. Let me show you. I did this with Aubrey's harness. So I go through and figure out, what each wire does, and then so like that would be blue connector 34, G connector or green connector 50, etc. So I've done all that, and then I supply you with basically what the company doesn't. So harnesses, and here's the printout for those two connectors. So the blue connector, the green connector, and then each one of those wires, now you know what they do. But it's mostly for gauges and whatnot. The rest of it, this is PVC coated wire, not silicone like a factory harness would be, which is fine. I suppose it withstands the heat that you're putting to it. Other than that, I don't have many complaints. The only other complaint I have would be like weather packing or lack thereof. There's weather packing there, but there might not be weather packing in the connector inside, like on the back side. Seems to be in this one. And it's hit and miss too. Like sometimes you know, if they don't have the parts available to them, they just keep pumping them out. Doesn't matter, because you are paying $200 as opposed to $500 for a harness. So this one's not too bad, and I'm gonna rework it, and that's what we're gonna do today. Get that bad boy started. Injector is already done on that. Crossover tube's already done on that. Get it fired up, get it prepped for Jim. Document it all, and Jim's coming to pick it up tomorrow morning. So let's get started. Okay, so I've got the harness laid out on the table now, and so here are the connectors that I'm talking about. These all got to get swapped over with the Vortec connectors, and then over here are the two pigtails that need to get changed over to that throttle body. So the first thing is to locate it all, and then this is the other side of the fuel rail connectors. There's the coil pack connector, and so we'll change all these over, and change these over, and then we can drape it on that engine. We got a few other things to do. The only other thing that needs to happen is the second vehicle speed sensor, because this is getting hooked up to a 4L80E transmission. So a little bit of repinning on the plugs, repinning on the transmission connector. Where is that? Whatever. It's there somewhere. Yeah, down here maybe? Nope. Repinning on the transmission connector, and so on. So I'm gonna get the soldering iron going, and that'll be a while. Okay, so I made all the connections that to change it over to this plug. There's the two old ones. We'll be getting rid of one of these limbs and taping everything up. This harness was butchered before, but these solder connections look good. There was, I don't know what they had going on there, but anyways, it's all fixed, and we'll wrap this up and tidy things up, and throttle body is done. Then we'll do the injector pigtails, and this harness should be, then redo the transmission, the input speed sensor for the 4L80E. Get that wired up, and then the harness is good to go. Stick around, I'll show you the finished product on this guy. The finished product with that pigtail, the way it cleans up. Ready to go. Okay, so now injector pigtails and the transmission pigtail over there at the back. All right, I got half the wiring done. Just a quick recap here. So the throttle body pigtail is all done. That's the finished product there. Looks pretty good. All the injectors have been changed over. All the pigtails to a Vortec truck pigtail. There's 8 of those. They are done. All came out nice. There's the aftermath, cut off plugs. And now we're going to do the transmission plug and the input speed sensor for the 4L80. Hold tight, I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm back. So what I've done now is this is going to be the input speed sensor that is not included in a 4L60E harness or transmission. This is the vehicle speed sensor. So all I did was take another, they're the same connector actually. The two plugs are the same. I took another vehicle speed sensor plug, put it in some loom so it's pretty, and now I'm going to tie it into the harness, run this all the way back. It ties into here, into the main part of the harness, comes back and over and around, and it plugs into the green connector, I think on 22 and 23. And I'll solder all that stuff up and tie it in, and then now this harness is good to go for the 6-liter with a 4L80 transmission. So a little bit more wiring, and then we'll throw the engine on a stand and keep on trucking. But yeah, that's all there is to it. And stay tuned, and I'll come back. Okay guys, so when you're done all that, you end up with something like this. These are the two wires that I ran all the way back to the transmission plug, and that's those are the two that go into the harness here. They come all the way through. They're all taped in nice and neat all the way through. You can't see the wires. They follow all the way down through here. And then they branch off to the transmission portion, which is who knows where. Oh yeah, all the way to here. And then you have the input speed sensor, the input speed sensor and the vehicle speed sensor, and the big transmission plug. And that's it. You can't tell that no one's the wiser, and you can't tell this was a Chickadee China harness and is now Canadian grade A LS swap harness. And that's that. A little bit tedious, a little bit of work, but it gets done. So now back to this engine. Jim wanted me to put a different pan on this, so I gotta flip the engine upside down, take the pan off, get that going. Get the pan on, put some oil in it, get that one off the stand, put this one on the stand, hook it all up, fire it up, and yeah, let's get this thing going. And it's Friday. I want to get it done before the end of the day. I still want to do the airlines in the C10. Redo those for the rear shocks, and let's keep going. Let's party. Friday. Okay. Here we are. Pan's off. There's the new pan. It's been shallowed, modified to make it more shallow. And here is the bottom side of the engine. We're going to take the pickup tube off by doing this bolt and this bolt. Then we're going to undo this guy here, and then I'm going to come back and show you a little mod for this as well. So I'll be right back. So 13 mil, 13 mil, 10 mil. This should just pop off like this. Okay. The grommet's still on there, or the rubber O-ring. There's a good shot of it. That's the bottom side of the oil pump. Okay, so another big reason why these things lose oil pressure is because this O-ring gets damaged or worn out, and then it loses a seal against the oil pump pickup, the bottom side of the inlet of the oil of the oil pump, and it cavitates and sucks in air, and then you lose oil pressure. So they come up with another solution where you cut this off, and then if you notice, there's two bolt holes for the oil pump intake or inlet, and it basically it's just a claw that holds on both sides instead of just the one, and it just it doesn't let the O-ring get a little bit, doesn't let it lift on one side or anything. So I went and bought Jim one of those, and we're gonna have to cut this off his pickup tube over there. We'll cut that off, and we'll put the aftermarket one on, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so here's just another quick clip. Here's Jim's pickup tube for that pan that was shortened. The pickup tube was shortened as well for the shortened pan. Here's a better shot of the one legger. All right, so that pushes up against, hard to do with one hand on the camera. Pushes up against the tube, and pushes it against the oil pump inlet, and then this just seals up against the inlet. But if this wants to get cockeyed at all, this goes like this, it's going to drop down and create a leak on this side, and it'll start sucking in air. So this guy here goes in like that, and now it can be bolted in on both sides. This is the cheapest insurance you can buy. I think it's only like 10 or 15 or 20 bucks or something like that. I don't remember. But I wouldn't do an engine. If I have an engine out of a car, I wouldn't put it back in without doing this, because this is a big point of failure for the LS engines. But that can be easily mitigated for about 20 bucks. So let's cut this guy off, and we'll bolt this back in, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. And the finished product looks like this, all bolted back down. And there's the two points of contact to hold that down. Again, just a little bit of modification. You gotta cut the original off, and then there's this tab here. There's like a cross. You just cut the bottom piece off, but she's all nice and snug. Jim, I just want to let you know that when I put this on, it was like this. Okay, so when you're checking the oil, if this is pushed down like this, your oil level is off. But that's all because this pickup tube, I'm not sure, let me see. Let me see if I can pull this tube. Hang on a second, there we go. Yeah, see, oh, it should be all right. You see how it's getting bound up there the odd time? But it looks like it's gonna be okay. Never mind, disregard. I just saw it and thought I'd mention it. That's it. Put the pan on, the other pan, button it up. I'll just give this a quick clean, and let's see what, put it back on, and then we'll put the harness on, put it on the stand, get it fired up. Include this part. These LS pan gaskets are one piece, and they are O-ringed, and they are about $100 Canadian for the American viewers. And then this one was in good shape. I hosed it down, and I'll put the pan on and line everything up and bolts her down. And that's it. Hopefully you never have to open this up again. And that's that. I mean, it's obviously more superior, right, than the small block Chevy design with the 3 pieces, 4 pieces. I know you can get more expensive ones for them, but everything seals up better in these engines. I think this one, the seal was failing at the cooler, and that's why it was leaking a lot of oil. So it's a new gasket, or a new pan gasket, different pan gasket, I should say. And hopefully this one doesn't leak. Guys, here's another piece of information for you. This is the so this is the pan that Jim supplied, and there's the old pan over there. This is off the 2500 series, so this is the path for the oil cooler. I have heard of people thinking that they can just tap those 2 holes and plug them with NPT plugs. You can't do that because oil, this is part of the passageway for oil that will circulate through the engine up to the cooler, take the hot oil from the cooler and bring it back and run it through the pan and through the filter again. So on this pan it was missing, so I'm going to just put the 2500 series cooler back on, and for startup it'll just loop through, but Jim, you'll have to take this off, get yourself the 1500 series block off plate, and they sell them on Amazon as well for cheap, and pop that in. So you will have to do an oil change again after I do this fresh oil change for you. You can capture the oil, throw it back in, whatever. Yeah, so don't block those off, don't plug them. That's there's on the 1500 series, it's a lot smaller, and there's just a little bump, and if you looked at it on the back side, you would just see a passageway for oil to come in and out. It just loops through on a 1500 without a cooler. Little tidbit for you. Hey guys, Noel back on Jim's 2004 drive-by-wire 6-liter, and you saw the whole process with the wiring and whatnot, and went to fire this thing up, and it fired up fantastic. Sounds really good actually. Bumps up to about 27 pounds of oil pressure and then dies off, which is really bad news, and sort of the worst case scenario when buying a used engine off marketplace or wherever, even myself. So I started doubting the the oil pressure sending unit, because I just used like a cheap Amazon gauge for the stand. So I got another electric sending unit, and I saw the same thing. And then so I decided to put this mechanical gauge that is brand new, as a matter of fact, and never been used before. You can tell by how clean it is. And I saw the exact same thing. It would go spike to 27 pounds, 25 pounds, and then die off. So the earlier, when we were putting the oil pan, the modified oil pan and the modified pickup tube in, you saw me put the double clamp on the tube, but what I didn't do was put a new O-ring seal there. I used the one that came with the provided pickup tube. In hindsight, that's a big mistake, because you should always replace that. And then here's the thing with those pickup tube O-rings, is that there are 3 different sizes. I had a chat with a couple of people about that, and we can't figure out for the life of us why GM would have 3 different sizes, especially in the same generation engine, despite small changes to the engine, like the intake manifold and the oil pan for the different models of cars. But nevertheless, there are 3 different O-rings, and you have to make sure that you get the right one. And you have to make sure that there's a good seal, so there's no cavitation or no aeration of oil when it's trying to pull it up through the tube out of the oil pan. So I'm going to show you what happens here first. And then the goal for today is to take this engine off the stand, probably take the harness back off, drain the oil, put it on a normal engine stand, let the oil drain really well, flip it upside down, change that O-ring out, and then reverse the process again and put it all back together and fire it up again. I checked, there's usually a screen in the bottom where the oil sending unit is. That's not there, so one mod is, or the mod is either to remove it altogether or to clean and replace the screen. That's happened, and even when it shows no oil pressure, it doesn't mean that
there isn't oil pressure with that problem. It just shows that the gauge isn't getting oil pressure because of a block screen. The only other reasons that I know of for a lack of oil pressure will be either worn cam bearings, worn crankshaft bearings, or that tube, the pickup tube. And that's, sorry, there's the barbell at the back, on the back, the rear seal could be blowing out, bypassing. Another thing could be the bypass spring in the oil pan could be getting stuck. And I'm not going to go through and show you all that stuff. There's a lot of YouTube videos on that to help educate yourself on those possibilities. But I have checked those, and they get more and more unlikely. The big culprits are cam bearings, especially in the 6 liters, and the pickup tube O-ring, which we're going to replace. So either way, I'm going to give it the old college try. I'm going to replace that O-ring, and if it doesn't work, then this engine starts to get pulled apart for either parts, or I spend the time and money to build it back better, and which will mean I fix the engine. Then perfect logic to my wife would be that I have to buy another car to put it in, because what am I going to do with an engine that doesn't run, right? So yeah, let's I'm going to fire this up and show you, and then we'll see what happens, and then we'll start getting after it. So you're going to notice that fires right up, runs really well, makes oil pressure, and dies off again. Let me get you in there good. So I forgot that I disconnected the pedal and the tack module from it. So that's why it's sitting idling at a specific RPM. And I'm trying to get a shot in here to show you that there's a little, I mean, it's making oil pressure. It's just not as high as we want it to be. And when it idles down, it really starts to drop off. So, yeah, real simple. We gotta take this apart and change that O-ring and see what happens. I'll pull up the pedal back in, another one anyways, and we'll see what happens. So the engine's back off the stand, back on the cherry picker, and just draining out the oil that we just put in before we put this on the engine stand and flip it upside down. We want to recapture that oil. It's brand new. It's got what, 2 minutes on it. New filter as well. Yeah. Okay guys, here's a shot of the 2 O-rings from Felpro, part number 72401, and does the 4853 and 6-liter engines. And this is saying it does all three. There are different colors you can see. And I've told that the different colors make a difference. I've also been told that it doesn't. I've also been told that the different colors represent the different durometer rating of the silicone. And I've also seen firsthand that it does not. So anyways, physically, if you look at these, I can tell that the one on the left is a little thicker than the one on the right. And that, if you can see that by eye, then that's going to definitely make a difference in the way. And I think it looks like the inside diameter might be a little smaller on the left as well. So that'll mean you'll get a tighter seal on the pickup tube, and then hopefully a tighter seal on the outside or the inside of the flange of the oil pump inlet. But yeah, so this is kind of the fun stuff that you get into, and I just wanted to show this stuff to you quick. I got a few of them there, letting the oil drain out some more. There's the original pan that I took off the engine, and this O-ring came off that pickup tube. So we're just letting this drain a little more, and then we'll flip it upside down, attach it to a stand, flip it upside down, change that out, and reverse the process and fire it up again and see what happens. Okay, here we are upside down again. Here's a good shot of the pan shortened. Looks pretty good actually, in my opinion. Nice welds. Definitely all sealed up nice and thick. Anyways, let's get the pan off, and let's get down to business. All right. There's the new one. There. Here's the old one. And I don't know. Like she's pretty wiggly, meaning not tight. And if I pull on this O-ring just a little bit and take up the slack on the one side, see that gap? The question is, so I'll pull this off now. The question is, how tight is it in that bore? This is the inlet to the oil pump. See, it's not very tight at all. When I stuck it in there, I can't really tell if it's just not tight. It just goes in so loose. Let's compare that with this one. See this, I can already tell that this is like really tight to get on, which is a good thing. There's no slack when I pull on that at all. That fit on the inside is really good. If I stick this down here, gotta cover this with oil, right? You don't want that O-ring to tear at all. I mean, this is a futile exercise because we're gonna give this a shot anyway. So it went in there. I'm hoping that it wasn't like, I didn't have to press fit it. It just kind of just goes in there. But I'm hoping that when I slide this on and I push on it from the backside with the claw, that it'll push against it, and then this expands and makes that seal. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna slam this back together, put it up on the stand, fire it back up, and see what happens. See if there's a difference. What did we see last time? 20, 22? We should see 35. God, I should see at least 30 pounds of oil pressure. At least 35 I'd be happy with. I would say that's okay, because at rev it'll be around 45, something like that. Anyways, let's jam this back together and see what happens. Together, oil's going back in. Just so you know, and I know, I don't make the mistake. Terrible mistake. You'll have bigger problems. All right, we're going back in. Throw this up back up on the stand and give her another spin. Okay, guys, we're back. It's all hooked up and she's ready to go. So, there's the pedal and the tack module. Instead of putting the analog gauge back on, I put the electric one back on so I can see it here, show you guys as well. I verified that the gauge was still good last time, because no matter what sensor I put on it, it was showing crap pressure. So here goes everything. I replaced the O-ring, and should be good to go. Let's this is a moment of truth. We'll fire things up, make sure the pedal still works. Let's see. Yep, pedal works. Fuel and fire. There you go. 45 pounds at idle, 47 pounds, somewhere in there. All because that O-ring sucking in air and cavitating the oil, basically. Yeah, it's a bit of a hair-raising experience. You know, you get an engine and you don't know what it's doing. Air pressure or oil pressure is not being nice to you. There it is, basically. You know, it's all fixed up and a little bit of labor involved, but some people might have thrown this engine away, but it's all fixed up. So life's good. We move forward. Hey guys, Noel here again. We're in the middle of doing compression tests on this engine. Everything looks pretty good so far. Gonna keep going, testing it out. Then I'm going to do the other 5 cylinders and get back to you and see how we made out, but I suspect everything's going to be good. She's a healthy little pony, this one. Okay, I'll be right back in a bit. Alright guys, here are the numbers back on this, on Jim's 6-liter, 2004 6-liter drive-by-wire, 47 pounds at idle. Numbers are all excellent for a 4.37% difference from high to low. What does that mean? It means that what they care about is that the difference between the highest number and the lowest number. So the highest compression cylinder to the lowest compression cylinder. And GM manuals suggest 30% difference allowance. That's the plus minus that you're allowed from the highest to the lowest cylinder. 30%, which is a big number in my opinion. And if we look back at all of the other engines, 10.99%, so 11%, 13. Did I do the percentage on this one? I'm not even sure. Well, I can figure that out. 9%, 5.3%, 7.69, let's call it 8%, 14%, okay. No Kendall, 8.83%. So I actually think that this year, I think it's the winner. I think this is the best engine we've tested. Let me do that one. Yeah, excellent shape. Really happy with it. I think it's even better than my 5.3. So there it is. The proof is in the proof. Jim's on his way. Be here around 4 o'clock, and we'll take some more video of him leaving, and all smiles. And again, life's good. We move forward. Ignition on.
Yep.
Fuel on.
Yep.
I just double checked that there's nothing in the way of that flywheel, or all hell will break loose. Yep. Nothing in the way of this.
Okay.
You hit the magic button and
Go.
yep.
So what are we looking at for oil pressure? 39. How much? 39. And voltage? 13.9. All right, we can shut it off.
Random video of us putting this together, fighting this.
What's your head on that front?
Watch your head. A couple small things to do to my truck.
You got some orders going on?
No, sorry.
I say you got some orders going on, like somebody.
No, I'm just now. Yeah, lift. Oh, does that come off or no?
No.
Okay.
So you just have to push underneath.
Yeah, just give me a second. Let me center this up. Yeah, go ahead and kick that, Jim.
Nothing holds. Okay.
LQ4 6-liter drive-by-wire. Going to get paired up to a 4L80, of course, going in a 52 or 53 Chevy. It's a nice car, actually, bagged. Seen it before. He popped the engine in it and bought a replacement, and picked it up today. It's got all the goodies, aftermarket harness, so it's all going to be nice and neat. And I believe he will send me some updates when it happens. And him and Margaret will be on the road, hopefully before the snow flies, and get a few more weeks of driving in before the winter happens. So thanks very much, guys, for supporting me. And I know I will see that car again. And if you are looking for an LS swap for your next project, feel free to call me at 905-261-2280. Contact me through text or social media, and we can plan your next LX swap for your hot rod project. Guys, I really enjoyed doing this video. I hope you get something out of it. I hope you learn something. Again, those O-rings are something to deal with, and don't let that be the reason your engine explodes.